What up, YouTube? Webhead Mike here, and with the rise of the ORC, or the open game license that the Pathfinder group is trying to make, that'll be its own business entity, do we have a win against the OGL 1.1? Yes, in many fronts. However, the fellowship that has formed needs to stand strong and not break. Or, fellowship, community, choose your fighter. Anyway, this is not over. Wizards of the Coast, or specifically Hasbro, does not want this to stop until they are as monetized as, say, Diablo Immortal is, but for Dungeons and Dragons. They want you, whether you're playing on a virtual platform or IRL, they want you to be glued to your phone or whatever device that is now required in order to play this game. They will not stop until it is microtransacted to oblivion. Hey, you want a dwarf mini? Okay, that'll be $2. Oh, you want it to have a spell book? That's another one. Oh, you want it open? Okay, that's another one. Oh, you want a specific color? Well, there's another one. And maybe even trying to buy inspiration or hero coins, which I think is that'll be a little no, don't do that. Another thing is that they're seeing other virtual tabletop platforms succeed where they are not. Now, I love Geeks and Gamers Tabletop. Their Secrets of the Frostmaiden game going swimmingly. I am totally engaged with everything that's happening. But they have so much more engagement than anything that is officially D&D. And then, of course, above them, there's Critical Role and All for One. They're all great. But Hasbro just sees what they're doing and just sees money that is being left on the table. Now, again, you can't fault a business for wanting to make money. However, the OGL 1.0 as it existed was extremely beneficial to them and all of us in the fellowship. Because if they weren't fulfilling a niche, we would get to. And both would prosper because, okay, my content is getting out there, but in order to play it, they have to get the Wizards of the Coast one. It was mutually beneficial, but they got too greedy. They looked at money being left on the table and said, no, we can't just have half. We don't want a lot. We don't even want most. We want all or as close to it as possible. Remember that. This is not over because, again, they want to have complete control over where, when, and how you play your game. And this is because a lot of these Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro executives that came from Microsoft don't understand the tabletop role player. They're not as easily monetized as a mobile gamer or an Xbox Live player, because if you're on those things, on those consoles or on your phone, you do have to do something and you need their product in order to play. Well, with a tabletop, I actually don't need anything. I can just make a rule set out of my head, lore out of my head, and maybe borrow some mechanics that can be freely gained and play away at my pleasure. And Wizards of the Coast did indeed roll a 1, but was it on persuasion or deception? I think we know which it really lands on. But that's besides the point. You can't trust Wizards of the Coast now because they wanted what was published to be what was going to be the standard for their contracts. And just think about it. They specified 25% of revenue, not profit, revenue, going to them. That is horrendously handicapping for all these Kickstarter campaigns. But hey, I hear Kickstarter sold you out. I hope it's good for those 20 pieces of silver going forward. Again, Sina Inu was on Kickstarter. I'm still looking forward to it, but don't know if I can support anything else because I know where it's going to go to. I want to get a proper sleeve for the Player's Guide, Monster Manual, and the Dungeon Master Kit. But again, that would mean giving Wizards of the Coast money. I don't want to do that no more. Maybe I'll have to find it on some submarket. Get it secondhand if I have to. Anything to not give Wizards Wizards of the Coast money. And we saw this happen before with comic books. People are buying back issues, not current issues. People are trying to buy second-hand statues if they can. Because, you know, some of them hot toys, beautiful. I don't fault anyone for getting them. But that's where we are now here with the role-playing game. Now, it's really nice to see Paizo's having the Rise of the Orc, and there's a potential for it to be used across every platform, because of course, no one can have control of this, because you can't capture human imagination. You can't capture their creativity. You can try to sign deals with them, but there's nothing stopping anybody from doing anything. That is on you and you alone. So, while we do have the Rise of the Orc, the war is still far from over. The Orc may not even be the final response needed. You need constant vigilance, because Wizards of the Coast is going to think, oh, well, you'll just forget about this in due time. Maybe some of us will. Not all of us. But that's the beauty of having all these networks that we can post to make sure people are aware of this. It's not going to go away. The Fellowship can and must stand strong in this war to make sure creativity and the creators that are trying to produce in it have the freedom to pursue their passions. And that really, no matter where you hail from, that's the American dream. Just port it out. No one has the right to say you can't do something. And that was where Wizards of the Coast stepped in it hard. They were trying to revoke content, like trying to say it was, morally reprehensible or unethical. Well, what are you? I mean, like I said before, the bread is telling themselves sometimes, you know? Yeah. But yeah, just remember that you don't need to be beholden to them. And again, I really hope that this leads to a revolutionary renaissance that will revitalize the space. Because, all right, maybe it's going to get to the point where whenever you're playing a role-playing game, people will say, oh, you're playing D&D. Like if you go to make a copy, they say, oh, I need you to Xerox this. Okay, fine. But this might just get to a point where Dungeons & Dragons isn't the majority, but it might be the plurality of all role-playing games. And then, who knows? Call of Cthulhu, Pathfinder, Starfinder, they're all great contenders to take the majority now. But I would love to see, like, Free League's Press get some prestige out of this, because they're making great products with the Alien RPG, the One Ring, and I hope soon to get, well, as soon as I can, Dragonbane. That looks awesome. That's just my thoughts. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and thank you for watching this long. I know time is a precious commodity, and I thank you for taking the time here. But until next time, WebMike out.